Let me take you back to a time when I was just a nervous teenager, ducking my head in the back row of a high school classroom. Picture this: the kind of girl who blends into fluorescent lit shadows, the teacher's voice bouncing off the walls, but never quite calling my name. Home wasn't a sanctuary. My parents argued so often that silence became my imaginary friend. School, though, was a kind of escape, even if I wasn't sure I belonged anywhere. Now, imagine, in the midst of all this, an ordinary November afternoon. The classroom is cold, everyone's bundled up, and the teacher is rattling off names for a history project. My heart's hammering. I'm just hoping I won't be left out. Or worse, stuck with someone who doesn't care. Enter Daniel. Not the star athlete, not the straight-A kid, but the one whose smile could fill a room like someone walked in with a light bulb when the power was out. He was that rare, kind soul who made people feel seen. And guess what? The teacher pairs us up. Emily and Daniel, you'll be partners. Can you see my panic? Yet, there he was, grinning at me as if we'd been friends forever. It felt like the universe had rolled the dice in my favor for once. Now, you might be thinking, did he just take over the project like everyone else had before? But no, Daniel insisted we split things right down the middle. For the first time, someone at school actually listened to what I had to say. He'd ask questions and wait for answers, little things, maybe. But for me, they were seismic. I started to talk. I started to hope. Our study sessions spilled into long afternoons, the library's overhead lights buzzing, the hum of the heater blending with our laughter. We talked about history, sure, but also about dreams and books and the future. This wasn't just teamwork, it was connection. It was the start of a friendship that would change everything for me. Ever wonder how a single person can change the trajectory of your life? For me, Daniel was that person. And from those first shared glances and nervous smiles, a whole new chapter quietly began. Let's talk about moments that shift your world: a single laugh, a quiet word, a shared secret. One evening, our classroom was dusted with gold from the setting sun, and Daniel started telling this ridiculous story about tripping in front of the whole school. I laughed, really laughed, which, for me, was as rare as a solar eclipse. You know that feeling, right? When you let go, just for a second, and forget every heavy thing you've been carrying. Right then, Daniel looked at me, and I could feel it. He saw me. Not the invisible girl, but the real me. It was unsettling, but also a little electric. I turned away, cheeks flushed, but inside, something shifted. He leaned in and whispered, "Emily, don't ever stop laughing like that." Simple words, maybe, but they burrowed deep. Sometimes, all it takes is a sentence to become someone's North Star. But every story needs its tension, right? One afternoon, we're working late papers everywhere when the janitor's footsteps echo down the hall. Cue adrenaline. If we're caught after hours, we're toast. We scramble to hide everything. Hands shaking, heart racing, a classic moment of fight or flight, like a pair of amateur operatives on the run. Suddenly, I realize I'm clutching Daniel's hand, and he squeezes back, steady as bedrock. The door handle rattles. We freeze. But fortune favors the brave. The janitor passes by. We collapse into nervous laughter. That little adventure, brief as it was, stitched us closer together. Why do such fleeting, high-stress moments create such powerful bonds? It's neuroscience, really the amygdala, our brain's alarm system, fires off a cocktail of adrenaline and dopamine. But for me, it was more than hormones. It was the realization I wasn't alone anymore. From then on, the classroom wasn't just a place for learning dates and facts. It became sacred ground, a sanctuary. Our laughter echoed off those tired walls, a private code that meant safety, hope, and the start of something I didn't even have words for yet. Let me tell you about the day I learned what real safety felt like. It was a snowy winter afternoon, the kind where the world outside looked muffled and magical through frosted classroom windows. Daniel noticed I was quiet, maybe quieter than usual. He asked gently, "What's wrong?" I hesitated, then whispered, "I just wish home felt like this, safe." Now, you might expect a pep talk, maybe some empty reassurance. But Daniel didn't try to fix it. He just reached across the desk and took my hand. Then make this your safe place. With me. Don't ever stop coming here. Talk about emotional resonance. That phrase, don't ever stop, became our mantra, a lifeline during chaos. It's a bit like a password you share with someone you trust completely. A simple phrase that unlocks calm in the middle of turmoil. Think about it. In psychology, there's this concept called safe havens people, or places that buffer us from stress, restoring emotional equilibrium. For me, Daniel and our classroom became my safe haven. No matter what storms raged at home, I always had that sanctuary, even if it was just a battered old desk and a friend who cared. Have you ever had a place like that somewhere, or someone who, just by existing, made you feel whole? That's the magic of meaningful connection. It doesn't erase the pain, but it gives you the courage to face it. From that day forward, Daniel's words echoed in my mind every time I felt overwhelmed. Don't ever stop. He gave me hope, not by promising things would be easy, but by promising I wouldn't have to face them alone. Fast forward to graduation, the gymnasium packed, the air buzzing with hope and nerves. My parents weren't there, their marriage having fractured under years of conflict, but Daniel was. As I walked across the stage, diploma in hand, I heard him cheer for me above the noise, and suddenly, the emptiness was filled with light. Now, some stories tie up neatly, but life rarely does. Daniel and I took different paths. He left for college, and I stayed to help my mom rebuild. Still, our connection endured. Letters, phone calls, holiday visits, those threads held us together across miles. Have you ever felt that paradox, where someone can be physically distant but emotionally right beside you? That's called an attachment bond in psychology, the kind that persists through time and change. Even as years passed and new chapters unfolded, Daniel's phrase stayed etched in my heart. Don't ever stop. Whenever the world felt heavy and my confidence faltered, I could almost hear his voice steady, reassuring, unyielding. Looking back, I see now what Daniel really gave me. Not just friendship, but courage. The courage to hope, to laugh, to believe in myself, despite every reason not to. He was the catalyst, the external stimulus that triggered lasting change in my internal landscape. So here's my question to you. Who's been your Daniel? Or maybe, whose Daniel could you become? Because sometimes, the greatest gift we can give someone isn't advice or solutions, but simply the reminder, don't ever stop. And I haven't, and neither should you.